What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Noah, and by the title of this video you probably already know where we're going, but I wanted to get on here because I have been posting videos about me building a clothing brand. I wanted to come on here and have a video live on the channel that basically describes my journey up to this point and what led me to do clothing, why I started clothing, all of that. The last 2 years for me have been insanely transformational. They've been some of the hardest times of my life, but also some of the most transformational. And I think that the learnings that I've had up to this point, even if there's one person that can take some of this and maybe apply it to their life, or maybe you're struggling with the same thing and it could help you, that would be phenomenal. But my goal here is to just be transparent with you and take you through my thoughts, what led me to starting my brand now, which is Eliora, and just be really transparent with you guys. To be honest with you, this is uncomfortable for me because it is vulnerable, but I think that it'd be important for, even like I said, if there's that one person that can watch this video and maybe it will help you with something that you're also dealing with. So rewind about 2 years ago, I had a few businesses that I was running. They were all in the Amazon space. You know, I was one of those Amazon FBA guys that you would see, and I still am to a certain degree. But what I would do is, for the last 7 years of my life, basically 8 years of my life, I was totally ingrained in selling products on Amazon. I would go source products, I would flip them on Amazon, buy them in bulk, send them into Amazon, private label my own products. I was really in the weeds with Amazon, and it's what I was doing full time. It's how I supported myself. I ended up growing a couple Amazon businesses to be pretty decently sized Amazon businesses. And throughout that, different brands would hit me up and ask me if I could also help them with their Amazon store, with their Amazon brand and all of that. So what naturally came from that was also, it was an Amazon agency. I basically started an Amazon agency aside from these other businesses that I had going, which then led me to doing some consulting, some teaching, and all of that. So I had a ton of different things going on, Amazon arbitrage at the same time. Probably had my hands in like 6 or 7 different buckets, maybe 8. Had a few, now that I'm thinking about it, I had like 9 things going on, which I'm going to talk more about in a second. And I'm just kind of putting this here because this is going to live as a subject for the video as well, and then tie into where we're going. So through that, one of my goals early on in life, I knew that I was very entrepreneurial. I knew that I always wanted to have my own business. I always wanted to run my own schedule. I knew that I wanted to kind of carve my own path in a way. I think there's a lot of you that are watching this that also probably feel that same way. And I didn't know what the tool was that was going to get me to where I wanted to be, but I just knew that I wanted to be self-sufficient. And I was introduced to Amazon, and that is how I did it. And so I just engrossed myself in it. I'm someone who is like extremely obsessive about something that is working, or maybe it isn't working, just obsessive in general. Like if I have an idea, I'm going to go for it. Like if I have a thought, it's going to happen. Like it's really hard to change. It was really hard for me to change like my thought patterns on something that I'm really determined on. So I had these Amazon businesses, right? And I mentioned the past 2 years and how they were really transformational, and I'm going to kind of dive into that now, touch on my life a little bit, and hopefully this all ties together. I don't know exactly, I don't have a script for this video. I'm kind of just like spitballing and being like straightforward with you, so I'm sorry if this is a little bit all over. I think it'll tie itself nicely together at the end of this video, at least I hope. So I have all these businesses going on, and I'm at the point in my life where, I have the things that I've always wished that I wanted on paper. Like, and I say this, but I do not mean this in any sort of like I'm not trying to boost myself here by any of this at all. I'm actually trying to do the opposite. So please don't take it that way. But on paper, I have the things that social media tells you that you need, right? You've got the car, you've got the nice stuff, you've got the newest electronics, you've got the watches, you've got the jewelry, you've got the clothes, you've got the house, you've got everything that material-wise you thought you could ever need the vacations, the free time, everything, right? You've got the health, which I'm always going to be grateful for. Um, but there are these things that social media portrays as like, hey, if you work your butt off and you all you do is engross yourself into your work, then in 2 years or in 1 year or whatever, you'll be able to buy this car, or you'll be able to buy this thing, or you'll be able to unlock this level of your life, and all of a sudden you're going to be extremely happy because now you have this desired thing that you once dreamed that you would have, and now you have it. Um, for me, a lot of those things were happening, and don't get me wrong, like they were exciting when they were happening, but that was just like I didn't realize it in the time while I was doing these things, but like taking, like I said, the last 2 years to kind of reflect about what I was doing, what's going on, like I was so unfulfilled. Like I was extremely unfulfilled in what I was doing from the aspect of just chasing money. Like I was chasing money. I was not even necessarily chasing money for good reasons, because I think that there's something to be said for that as well. I was chasing money strictly for the fact of buying materialistic things, and that, like saying that out loud, completely grosses myself out now. And it's embarrassing if I'm being honest. And like it's even hard for me to say that to you. But um, so I was doing these things, right? Growing these businesses, which I was grateful and honored to be able to build. And but I was just like I was sitting down and having these heart to heart conversations with God and being like dude, like what are we doing? Like I have these things and I feel so unfulfilled in what I'm doing. Like, I just feel like crap. Like what is going on? And it took multiple months, years for me to kind of figure out the fact of like, hey, like maybe these things that you thought were going to make you fulfilled because you were told that they were going to make you fulfilled from social media or where else, now you have them, and now you feel empty because you're not doing anything that serves you and what you're passionate about. So for me, I had to really do some soul searching on like, what do I like to do? Like, what am I passionate about? What are things that drive me? What would make me excited to wake up in the morning and do my quote unquote job or do my quote unquote work? Um, and those were like heart to heart questions that I had to ask myself. Because as I'm asking myself these questions, I have these businesses that are needing to get ran that I'm kind of figuring out I don't feel passionate about. I'm definitely not fulfilled by them as much as I should be. And I hope that it's not coming across as like me taking anything for granted. Like I'm really not trying to be like that. These are just my thoughts. And so I really hope that you're not taking it that way. But I had these businesses, I'm unfulfilled, and I'm starting to ask during my prayers, like, why do I feel like this when I have all these things that I thought that I always wanted? And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what excites me. And like I knew of these things that excite me because like I enjoy wearing nice clothes, I enjoy fashion, I enjoy art. And so I started asking myself, like, what are some of the things that you would have done, money aside, if money wasn't an object? If you could wake up every single day, and this is what I'm asking myself, if I could wake up every single day and do something, what would I be excited to wake up and do? And right off the top of my head, it was clothing. Like clothing. If I could wake up every single morning and run my own clothing brand and apply what I know about business to my own brand, clothing, designing pieces, the art side of it, collections, drops, photo shoots, like that to me that is still a dream of mine. But asking myself this about a year ago, that was the answer to myself. Um, and I remember, like, again, during my prayer, I was like, okay, like I have all these businesses now. Like, how in the world am I going to have time to also have a clothing brand? Like, there was just absolutely no shot. I was working like 10, 11 hours a day at this point just to keep things running. And introducing a clothing brand, which is a huge undertaking, I was like, there's no way that I even have the time for this. So I kind of just brushed it underneath the rug. It was kind of like, all right, this is maybe just me getting in my own head because I'm stressed out about different things, or because I have a lot of things going on. Like I just maybe need some time to reflect. Um, But, I let maybe a couple weeks pass by, a month, and same thing happens. I feel unfulfilled. I'm not necessarily excited to get up and work on the things that I have to do that day. And so I'm like, all right, something needs to change. Like, I need to make a change here, because this is just ridiculous. Like, there's no point in building something that you're not passionate about. Business is such, and this is something that I've learned, like, business is such a grind. It is such a grind. And to build something that you're not fulfilled or not passionate about, at least for me, was like, why am I doing this? Why am I building this? Like, I'm building this for who? For what? Like, it isn't supporting any of my goals. It's not supporting any kingdom goals. Like, what am I doing here? And so I remember, and I've shared this before in here in one of my early on videos, but I prayed one of the craziest things that I've ever done. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but it was, God, please increase the things in my life that are serving me, and please reduce the things in my life that aren't serving me. And I prayed that. Within 24 hours of me praying that, we lost a client for Swifton. And it was one of our bigger clients at the time. And I was like, okay, like, we're totally doing this. Fast forward about 3 weeks later, I prayed the same thing. And within a couple of days of me praying that, we lost another client. And then same thing happened like 2 weeks later. So I'm like, all right, like, this is such a powerful thing. And it was so clear to me what was happening behind the scenes while I was praying those messages. Like, those things obviously weren't serving me. And so they had to get erased from what I was doing. But it was just such a transformational thing for me to actually see, like, the trust and the faith that went into that, like, on both ends. Usually, like, for me, if that would have happened and I would have lost 2 clients, I would have been distraught. I mean, that was sort of like, that was the agency to a certain degree. Like, that was what was driving us. And I would have been, like I said, just completely a wreck because of losing 2 clients. If I wouldn't have prayed that beforehand and not seen the plan sort of starting to unfold. So I took that as my sign to completely go into the clothes, completely go into everything that I want to do, to be immersed into this world of letting my life be driven by things that I'm passionate about and not caring about the monetary aspect of things. And that is the approach with the clothes, everything that I'm doing with this brand. The brand name, for those of you that are new to the channel, is Eliora, which essentially means, to me, to have faith. And it is just such a perfect fit, and it ties this whole story in together so well for me, because there's a lot of things that happened also that I'm not necessarily sharing throughout this, just for the length of the video's sake and for entertainment purposes. For some of you, probably dropped off by now, but there was just a lot of things that unfolded that made me realize, like, you just need to, like, what am I doing? Like, life is too short to not do something that I'm not extremely driven, extremely passionate, extremely excited about. And I just can't tell you how good it feels to be in this groove, because, like, having those thoughts about, like, having to pivot when everything is working is extremely, and I again, like, I hope that doesn't sound bad, but, like, when you have all these things, businesses are working, but you're also in a dark place and trying to figure stuff out, but it's producing what you always wanted, like, it's an extremely dark, lonely place to be in. And it feels good to have jumped over that, like, time in my life and have learned all the lessons and all the things that I've been blessed with, like, all the wisdom and things that I've picked up over the past 2 years, because they have been extremely transformational. Like, going into this business with the thought process of letting my creativity and letting my ideas and my passions drive the business, letting God drive the business, is something that I would have never done up until this point. And so, like, for me, it goes to show, like, how much happens when you surrender your plans of what you had in mind compared to what is best for you. They're two different things. Like, You can have a plan, you can think that everything's going a certain way, it's going perfect, but then your plan changes. And I think that there's something to be said for surrendering to that. So yeah, that is kind of the background of Eliora. That's why it's named, that's why my brand is named what it is, because of the evolution up to this point. And I'm certain that there's someone out there that is going through the same thing. Maybe not exactly to a T, but the brand is going to be a brand that is very minimalistic, but also showcases the calmness and importance and significance of driving with your passions and driving with things that you believe in, driving with things that it make you excited to your bones to do what you're doing. And for me, that's what this is all about. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this for the analytics. I'm not doing this for the growth. Sure, all of those things would be nice, and if someday they are a byproduct of all the work that we're putting in, great. But that is just not something that I'm even worried about with this brand at all. It's an extremely fun outlet for me to be able to pour a lot of my time into this now, because my calendar is a heck of a lot clearer. I mentioned those 2 clients, but there's been a lot more that's unfolded behind the scenes of just my businesses that have made enough time for this brand. And so it's pretty much shifted to be one of my main focuses now. And I'm extremely grateful and extremely blessed to be in this position to even do this. Like, how big of an honor is it to have something that you're passionate about? So I'm definitely not taking any of this for granted. I wanted to hop on here and just give you a background of Eliora, a background on me, a background of why I'm here, why I'm documenting this process, and hopefully, like I said, even if there's one person that watches this and can take something away from it, awesome. That is the goal from it, and I also wanted you to learn and know me a little bit more, just because I am continuing to share my journey of growing a brand and all the behind the scenes that is going into it. So that is all, I think, for now. Thank you guys so much for the support. Like, it truly means so much to me, more to me than you know. And all the comments, the likes, it's just a cool way for me to see that you guys are engaging and actually enjoying the content as well. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, for watching these videos. I'm going to be continuing to show you behind the scenes of everything that I'm doing with this brand, and there's so much that I have in store for it. All of the, just, it's so exciting. Like, we have so much planned. The first drop is going to be so sick. I'm working on those samples now. The hats, the collections, the photo shoots. I'm going to take you guys all along for everything that we're doing and build this with you. So I hope that you're excited, because I just can't even tell you how excited I am for this. And thank you. Thank you for being here. That's it. I'm going to stop ranting. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Until the next video, I'll see you. Peace.